Today I'm going to show you how to make a ring toss game. It's a super quick project and one that's fun for the whole family. Alright, let's get started. For this project I used 1x3 4-ring strips and a dowel repurposed from a curtain rod that was 7/8 inches. Since I have plenty of wood, I decided that I would make 2 ring toss games. I started by cutting my base pieces. First, I cut 2 long base pieces for each game. They were cut at 20 inches. Once I knew they were the same length, I set off to cut my short base pieces. Each game will have 2 short base pieces cut at 8 3/4 inches. And don't worry, I have all the specs and all the cut lists on my blog, so at the end of the video you can check that link out in the descriptions. With all my base pieces cut, I set out to drill pocket holes into the short base pieces. You just need to do one side because they're only attaching into the middle of the long base piece. After drilling the 3/4 inch pocket holes, I used wood glue and clamped the pieces together. Then I drilled in 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. And that's it. Check it out. 1 base, done. Now it was time to cut my dowels. I ended up cutting my dowels at 5.5 inches. It's really easy to cut the first one measuring and then use each dowel to measure the ones behind it. And now I'm ready to drill holes so I can attach them to the bases. I made sure to mark exactly the center spot where I needed to drill my holes. Depending on your dowel, you will need a bit to fit the size of your dowel. Since my dowel was 7/8 inches in diameter, I used a 7/8 inch drill bit. Once I had the center marked, the very center marked, and the sides marked where the dowels needed to go, I was ready to drill. I made sure to clamp my base down while I was drilling so I didn't lose it and it didn't get out of control. It worked really great doing it that way. Then I fit in my dowel to see how it worked. I think it was a perfect fit. I also wanted to point out the scrap piece of wood underneath just to protect my work surface. I went with a red, white, and blue theme. I did navy blue to spray paint the dowels, and then I spray painted the small base pieces white and then covered them up with plastic and taped them, and then spray painted the long base pieces red. To add my dowels, I did a little bit of wood glue in the center of the holes and then put them in place. Now you could screw from the back, but I decided that it would be easier to just nail them in. The wood glue would hold it and they would be just fine. So I added 2-inch nails from the back, making sure that my dowels were nice and straight before I put the nails in. Now one of the most important parts of the game is having the numbers so you can keep score. I have a Cricut machine, and so I use that to cut out my numbers with contact paper. Then I place them on and use them as a stencil. If you don't have a cutting machine, of course, you obviously don't need one. You could use stickers and put them on that way, or you could use regular stencil that you buy at the store and stencil them on with a regular stencil. Whatever works. If you do use a stencil like this, notice that I try to rip the stencil off when the paint is still wet. The red was a little darker, so I needed a little bit more blue paint. That's why I left those on a little longer than the white. Alright, now it's time to make the rings. I decided that using regular rope was probably the best way to do this. I ended up cutting the rope at about 20 inches long for each ring. Then I used a flame to make the ends so they wouldn't fray, and then I used good old duct tape to secure them. It actually works great. You only need 5 rings per game. So I ended up making 10. Secure the tape around the 2 ends and wrap it nice and tight. And you're good to go. Pretty quick, pretty easy, and they're actually fun to throw. I'm sure you could buy plastic rings at the store and that would work great too, but I wanted to try to do it so you could make the whole thing yourself. Now the game's ready to play. You can play lots of different ways. You can play to who gets the highest score first wins. Sometimes we'll play that you have to go in consecutive order, hitting 5, 10, 15, 20, and however many points you get. highest wins there. There's lots of different ways to be creative and have fun with it. You can also sit and visit in chairs and toss the rings and just have fun playing while you're enjoying good company. Be sure to check out the link in the description below to visit my blog post that has all the details and full picture tutorial for this project. Please subscribe and don't miss out on any videos. Thanks so much!